World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men wasn't the same. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, getting that checkup from the neck up financially and sharing information that we can take on to help our community. The Black and Brown community is our focus, but everyone can afford to have some financial literacy. We say there's about 66% of Americans in this country do not understand something as simple as compound interest. So we're here to enlighten, make a difference. You know, my words are, if you know better, you'll do better. And so we've got some special stuff for you today to talk about. But of course, I'm going to lead off with the book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. And you know why we say a sucker. I had someone today talk to me and said, wow, that's some deep, I'm a sucker. And I said, but you can be a smarty, you know, because if you just take the book, read the book, and it's How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. All you got to do is send me an email at Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com and say, I want the book. And make sure I have an address, because this doesn't serve any good, because this is not an ebook. This is a full-fledged book that will take you about an hour to read. It took me an hour and 10 minutes. I read a little slower, but it's a wonderful book to learn the basics of how money works and then take yourself on to the level of having yourself have a plan. You know, if you have a plan, then you're definitely not trying to fail. But if you don't have a plan, you probably are working towards failure. We don't want to do that. Hey, Sandy, welcome. And I'm going to see you soon, I hear. Okay. And if you'd like a free financial analysis, to know where you are and where you'd like to be, and with no obligation at all, just to have a plan, you call 646-375-2121 and let us know that you would like to get a free financial analysis. Again, no obligation. Knowledge is power, but action is queen. And why I say that, we have Women's History Month, so we can really queen it up, but I'm not doing queens today. I got some powerful men to assist me today. We know that there is a racial wealth gap. Last year we talked about it. I've seen it all over the place. The question is, we know why, we know what it is, but the key is to be in a position where we can solve it and have some solutions. You know, if you're not acting upon it, once we give you all of this information today, something's wrong with you. You want to stay in the doldrums. We can't continue to blame other people for our community and the problems that go on in our community. I have people who listen to the show. It's very interesting. Most people watch the show after it's gone off the air. A lot of people do. And that's every Thursday at 6 p.m. We're here giving you information to help you embody yourself and to allow you to change your life. You know, if you change your financial literacy, you can change your life. Anything is possible. So that being said, I'm not going to take a lot of time talking and chit-chatting with you. I'm going to bring on my guest because we got a lot to share. So my first guest, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I always introduce them and I don't give them all the stuff that they need to. These are some powerful, powerful, powerful men in our quest to bring financial education to our community. You know, they've got all the accolades and all the licenses, but their mission, you know, it's one thing when you have a mission and you're in it by yourself, or a crusade and you're in it by yourself. But I'm not in this by myself. I've got these two powerful men by my side. So I see them, but they call them, I'm sure one's going to laugh at me. I'm going to say my wingmen. I'm picking up terms from them. But first I want to bring on my brother from another mother, Mr. Selwyn Farrell.
Awesome. Good evening. How you doing, sis?
Welcome to Access Wealth Nation. And if you'd be so kind as to tell a little bit about yourself, how many years you've been in this industry and how wonderful it is that I get to work with you.
Wow. Well, you know, I'm not keeping track, sis, but I've been in the industry well over 24 years now. I was fortunate enough to serve in the Marine Corps.
And thank you so much.
And it was an honor. And while in the Marine Corps, we had what we call MCI courses. I had took a course called Math for Marines. And that Math for Marines led me to a journey, not down a yellow brick road, but to some folks that introduced me to some money principles, the rule of 72, time value of money. And it really changed my life. And I've been passionate for the last 24, 25 years, just sharing simple principles and behaviors that we as a people, and when I say a people, I'm covering all ethnicities in America, we need to practice on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis, in order to see the difference in our family lives and so-called break those generational curses. But that's what I've been doing, and I'm telling you, it's fun watching the lights go on when people get it, you know. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's definitely an honor and a great privilege to share this airtime with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you are in Orlando, Florida.
Yes. Originally, well, I'm from the island of Trinidad, migrated to New York in 1970, and, went to high school, went to City College, went to the Marine Corps, and stayed out on the West Coast until 2006, and then decided I needed to be in a place that had similar climate to the island. And the closest thing we had was Florida here in the States. So here I am, and I'm loving every moment of it. And every winter I do really think about you guys. Still love you guys, but I'm not pushing any snowblowers down here. So I'm having a
y'all
blast.
don't let me forget that.
Yeah, I promise. I promise I won't. Promise I won't.
Okay, brother. I am so thankful for having you here. And so my next guest is another brother from another mother. And a mother who is really, I counted, she hit the centennial, which I think is phenomenal, so he's got some strong blood in his veins. And so I'd like to introduce to Dr. James Wilkerson. There you go, show in Florida.
Yeah, got to represent, Rattlers, we strike, and strike again. And so
James,
just a little.
Go ahead.
Little bit about myself. Born and raised in Mississippi. Left as fast as I could. It wasn't burning when I left. I attended FAMU, graduated with a degree in accounting, spent 20 years flying airplanes with the Navy, went all over the world, saw a lot of things, did a lot of things. While I was living in Hawaii, I worked on a master's degree. I have a master's degree with a concentration in taxes. My focus is to show people that they can have access to tax-free retirement strategies, something that the wealthy have been doing forever. When I moved to Tampa in 99, I attended the University of South Florida Certified Financial Planners Program. I completed the 2 years of coursework. I took the 2-day exam. I'm one of less than 85,000 certified financial planners in America. Now, I want you to get the magnitude of what I just said. There are less than 85,000 in America. Less than 2% look like me. And when you do the math that there are 350 million people in America, you could truly understand why I say I am one in a million. And so my mission, after sitting in the class, being the only person of color in the class with about 40 people, I determined I was going to be a snitch. Everything I learned about money, I was going to go tell to everybody who's willing to hear what we had to say. So my mission is to help 1 million people who are Black and brown get down with being millionaires. So that's my focus, and that's what I'm working diligently to do every day of my life. I love what I do. I have fun doing it. And obviously people can see that I'm the baby in the bunch when they hear your story, your years of experience, 7 years of experience. Here I am 17 years young in the business. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Thank you so much. You see what, audience, I'm telling you, it is a pleasure to work with these gentlemen. They keep me on point. They tell me about Florida. But anyway, you can have two homes, in different places, but they also are passionate, just like you hear every week from me about how I wanted to have some camaraderie to let y'all see that there are people out here who love and adore and want to change the scope of our economical situation in our communities, the Black and brown community. I'm not leaving anybody out. It's like there's another brother I have from another mother, is Sean Rochester, who said, we're not trying to boycott businesses. We just trying to stop people from boycotting our businesses. So that's being said, we all know that there is a serious racial wealth divide. And to let y'all know the magnitude of it is that if we caught up to what other people, sometimes we call them vanilla folks, we sometimes call them the white folks, whatever. If we want to catch up to them, it would take 207 years to catch up. But to really paint the picture, not catch up economically to them when they get that 207 years back, to catch up to them now, where they are now. So we got a lot of work to do. And we need people who have that passion to make a difference and to create generational wealth. And so to do so tonight, we can talk about the problems. We know there's economic problems in our community. And we're going to cover these 7 basic problems that we are not addressing and not paying attention and don't know about, but also giving the solution. So we're going to start first with the financial education. Now, y'all got a choice who wants to chime in, but what is your thoughts about financial education and what can people do to become financially educated?
Well, I'll go first. I'll let the baby of the bunch go last. Uh, well, first, Dr. Yana, first of all, we understand the importance of just education. But when it comes to understanding how money works, I believe it's vitally important to the success of people in this country. And the earlier you know it, it should be taught in grade and high school, where some of the states are starting to mandate it because they're realizing that the country is not going to be in a position to even provide the entitlements that was once promised to our parents. So to answer that question, the importance of it is vital for long-term survival when it comes to your finances. Folks need to be educated, and they've got to understand the numbers because the numbers tell an incredible story. People have to read important documents that they receive. Social Security's been warning us. They may be utilizing words as insolvency. We've got to get the memo. People have to understand that. I believe people are so caught up in things that they put this education on the back burner. And here we are. We're saying it's not a state of urgency, it's a state of emergency. So we have got to continue to ring the bell in every street in America and say, hey, come out. There's a message, you know. So that's my take. Go ahead.
I got you. And James, I'm going to ask you this question is that we in our community have been really taught to shy away from the numbers. Math is like a foreign entity. People say that they don't know, they don't like math. I'm just the opposite, but they don't like math. And so how do they become financially literate if the words that are in, that language that Wall Street has that totally takes us away from us, so what do they do to become literate financially?
The first thing we got to understand is if the blind lead the blind, they fall in a ditch. It's impossible for illiterate individuals to teach other people how to become literate. One of the most important aspects of what we do, as I said, once I found out what could be done, I said I was going to be a snitch. I was going to tell everybody. And so we have a tremendous responsibility to educate the masses with the information that we have been exposed to. Our responsibility is to make sure that everybody we come into contact with can speak the money language, because this financial cancer is plaguing America. And as we indicated, it don't make a difference if you're black, white, grizzle gray, Indian red, sunshine yellow, Jamaica tan. Money is green. Everybody want more of it, don't know how to get it unless they speak the money language. So our responsibility is to go out there and educate the masses on how money works and make it work more effectively for them. The challenge that we have is, again, people buying into hearing it from people who look like them. Again, we have a responsibility. We have to convince people that we are well able to educate them on the things they need to know, because it's not for us to be waiting on the handout. It's for us to be sticking our hand out for a hand up, because the information is available, whether it's in a book, and they put stuff in books because they realize most people won't open a book. But the things that are in the book, we're telling everybody how to leverage off of those things and win. The people who get help have the opportunity to have more than anybody else. I don't have to be an expert on everything. The thing that I'm an expert in, I'm willing to share that with everybody. That's how we change the landscape going forward. Our communities are at risk for imploding because we are not exploding with entrepreneurship and opportunity to protect and grow money. And it's only going to happen when we begin to teach others how to do stuff. In the scripture it says, we're now converted, strengthen our brethren. Everything I'm learning, I'm giving away. I'm grooming other people to come follow in my footsteps, because in this industry is a great opportunity. Here's one thing I leave with you before I turn it back over to you. Most people are aware of who LeBron James is. Most people can relate to athletes, but LeBron James has an agent. That agent hasn't dribbled one time up and down the court, but he's made millions helping LeBron and others get contracts so fat that they are now able to do stuff nobody ever thought was possible. And his ability to help LeBron has resulted in him being able to help others. If we do it the right way, we can have the same type of explosion in the financial services industry. And I believe it's on the way.
Oh, yes, I feel it desperately. A matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the reasons why I got into this industry as deep as I did was because there was a financial advisor for Michael Jordan on the CNN station back in those days. And he stood up, little short guy, blonde hair, and said, I don't know how to dribble a ball. I don't know how to dunk one, but I know I get 1% of everything he makes. That's what I said. Well, all I want to do is be in that position. 1% is fine for me, but that was one of the things I was like, wait a minute. And he don't have to hurt his legs and be all messed up being a financial advisor. And he was able to get 1% of everything that Michael makes. And I think still to this day, he's in that position. We just need to make sure that we have more people that look like us in that position, So one of the other great places that we know that we have a weakness in is proper protection. Some people say it's insurance, and I don't give a hoot about insurance because I'm not leaving anybody anything. I'm spending all my money. I done heard that a lot, or why do I want to make people wealthy after I die? They're going to spend it all. So I might as well spend my own. So what does this element of proper protection in our community, what do you see as how do we get them first to see that it's necessary? Because we know that's also, we need to do something about building legacies. And I know that's one way to do it, but how do we get our people to even listen to us about that?
Well, I'll take it. I'll go again. Well, first of all, I think in my opinion and this experience, I believe most people don't really understand the functions of insurance, basic knowledge of insurance. All they do is look at this subject matter and think it's a monthly bill, whether it's, life insurance or whether it's home or car. Say, okay, it's mandated for home and cars. But when it comes to life, they really don't understand it. They don't understand it is a mechanism that's in place to provide income if a person's income is interrupted in the event of death, disability, or even having a long-term illness.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a mechanism that protects pockets. But also the Bible talks about we as parents supposed to leave an inheritance for our children's children. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about legacy, we've got to look at it as a legacy mechanism, because it levels the playing field if it's done early enough that everyone could have a piece put in place for the next generation. And when we talk about folks that are ahead of us some 200 years, if we understand this subject that we're now speaking about, life insurance, I believe it's an equalizer, because that's a lot of money that's being put back into communities. And if not only are we bringing that money back in communities, now we're building businesses in our communities because most people that go into business, we know they lack capital. Well, guess what? Insurance companies in America don't have a shortage of capital. So that's my take with the importance and understanding it.
And either one can jump in, but the deal is that in our community, most people who come, the insurance brokers come, and they sell us something like term insurance. It's like a Band-Aid on an artery. It's just there. It has no other use. So what do you do when people feel, well, grandma paid her $25 a month for so many years, and she got a whopping $1,000 after, when it was time to bury her, which won't do anything, and she doesn't get to leave anything. So, James, what do you do about that when the community is hearing this? Oh, did we lose him? Looks like we lost James. You want to?
It's buffering.
Yeah. So, that's a very serious thing, because like you said, is that we have to leave a legacy. But what happens when, here he is, he's back. Okay, bro. What do we do when the insurance is not even enough to cover a burial? Can you hear me, James? Can you hear?
I'm sorry, you broke up, ma'am.
Okay.
I
So
can hardly hear you.
the question was, we have people who are sold, these policies that they
I'm
only.
having some difficulty hearing. I'm
Okay.
watching you also on Facebook. So
Okay.
if you are able to hear me,
Yes.
if you just give me a thumbs up, I'm good to go on my end.
Okay, you went back out. Must be the connection in that Florida area. So what do we do when, what do we do? We're out here, we're trying to tell people that they need to build a legacy. They go get somebody, sometimes they look like us, and they offer us a policy that doesn't really build a legacy. It's, I remember my auntie paid $4 a month, and she always said she was taken care of. She got this. And we found out that was $1,000 policy. You got people on the TV talking about, Colonial, and I'm naming them. Yeah, they out there, and they say, oh, it's only like $9, but that's, if you read the little bit of tiny writing, it says that's only for $1,000 worth of coverage.
Correct.
Correct. And we also start to do insurance late in life. If I could have $1 for every person who came to me at the ripe old age of 60 and 70 years old and said, I need insurance, that's not the time. So what do we do about this to educate our folks to say, you got to do something early, or do it for your children? I know that's a big aspect of James's program.
Today's child, tomorrow millionaire.
Today's child, tomorrow's millionaire.
Go ahead, James.
I keep having issues on this end, ma'am. I'm gonna try another setup. I'm unfortunately not able to continue at this time.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll hang in there and we'll have you back.
Right. But to answer your question, first of all, folks need to be educated in the early stages of their life. It seems like a lot of folks in our communities enjoy purchasing things that are liabilities when they should be focused on investing in things that are assets. See, most folks don't understand that life insurance also is a wealth building tool for people that are living. But once again, folks need to leave wallets at home, pocketbooks, and bring a notepad and understand the numbers behind that mechanism, and don't avoid it, embrace it. Don't just look at the aspect that you're trying to avoid, which is inevitable for everybody.
I got you.
Early learning. We've got early learning coalitions, early learnings. That means from cradle, 15 days old, folks need to do something for their babies and allow that to go through all stages of their life. I grew up in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, I can tell you, and I come back to New York twice a year. I know there's something called the Jewish phenomena, and what they do is from the time the child is born, they're planting wealth seeds into that child's life. Listen, they say success leaves trails. We don't have to create. We've got to learn how to imitate. And there's sufficient people out here for us to imitate. All we're doing is modeling their habits. I mean, listen, as I said, I come back to New York twice a year prior to COVID. And I'm in Brooklyn. And I'm watching folks on Sabbath walk to the synagogue. And here's what I noticed. I noticed that the reason why Jewish people have been successful when it comes to their money is that they don't buy into the things all the other races buy into. You ever notice that nobody has on designer suits? Everybody have the same color suits. It's either gray or black.
That's right. And they buy from themselves.
Hello. Okay. So they understand that the things that you're wearing doesn't determine how wealthy you get.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to understand what we're spending our money on. And it's been you could call it a marketing brainwashing job on Madison Avenue or what have we, but we have got to get control of repositioning dollars that's been spent without having a second thought.
Yeah, that's so true. Bro, this is so important. When I went to Tulsa, the biggest thing I got out of it as I walked those streets, there was 600 businesses in that area, predominantly because of the fact that segregation. If you don't want to serve me, no problem. I got my own. And they built that whole township up with 600 businesses. And the dollar took at least 3 to 5 years to come out of the community, which means everybody was buying and offering with each other. Now let's fast forward to 2022. And now it's 101 years later, and a dollar lasts less than 4 hours in our community.
Wow.
It's our consciousness. I'm amazed, like you said, is we got to reposition the money because they insult us. That H&M, I'd be over my dead body if I go in one of them. Denny's, but we forgive real quick. And instead of setting up our own businesses or going to our own businesses and supporting them, now we don't want to walk that far. I had one young person tell me, but the stuff is cheaper and it looks good. Okay, so it'll be more expensive and you still look good, but you just don't buy as much. Change your mind on money and change your mind even on life insurance. Like you mentioned something very powerful is that the life insurance is really not just death insurance, but it's living benefits of the life insurance. But no one told us this. But now we're out here telling you that you can do this. And then don't let it lapse. Keep it going because this is the legacy, which brings me to the next topic, which is our ability to create an emergency fund. You know how long our emergency fund has been? It's usually been Aunt Mabel. You know, you got no money, don't have any credit cards, go to Aunt Mabel. She'll help you, you know. And things changed as we got along, and then we as years passed, and then we separated from each other. Like you named a few places you've been. You know, I'm a native New Yorker, and I'll probably never, well, I'm gonna see what I do. I'm never, they say never say never.
Right.
But the thing is that how important is an emergency fund?
Wow. Well, here's what I do know. Everyone is going to go through different seasons in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that it's not going to rain and not have an umbrella during the calendar year it's silly. It's silly. People need to understand that there's basic principles, and that having fun, some people call it a rainy day fund, but they know life happens. These things are unexpected and they show up without giving you a 3-day notice or a 30-day notice. So why go through series of stresses in your life when you can have, you could reduce or even mitigate it in some cases by setting aside a little bit here over a long period of time. Listen, if you own a car, we know maintenance is going to be required.
That's right.
If you own a pair of shoes and you walk in those shoes, you know you have to go to the shoe repair shop or get a pair of shoes.
That's right.
You don't wait until your foot is telling you the flavor of the concrete. No, you start. So I guess one of the challenges for me when I look at folks is that, are we awake? You talked about awareness. Are we awake? You see, everybody is so busy, but they're busy about going where? Nowhere. So, you know, having that 6 months, 12 months set aside, I believe it became more obvious of the importance of it during COVID.
Sure did.
You know, they were reporting the average person could not afford a $400 emergency, but
Nope.
They're getting refund checks. Everybody's got these huge TVs. They've got the latest gadgets. I mean, Apple is just loving it. They've got the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. They're up to 13 now.
That's right. But you have nothing to show for it. You've got something that's depreciating or non-existent. I have one of my clients that has grown his wealth. He's been my client for my 35 years in this business. And I just convinced him to get out of that flip phone. Okay.
My man.
Because he was like, what do I need this for? I need to call my wife and my daughter, and anything else I can walk and wait, you know. But he has himself set up his retirement. I was so proud to walk with him and go to his final retirement review. And he had so much money put away that the guy that was sitting there doing it, he said, I'm not sure I can advise you because you've done everything. And then he went and pointed to me. He said, see that lady? Because the guy was upset. And yes, you people who are getting ready to retire, it's nice to take your spouse, but it's similar, I think, to what James said was the blind leading the blind. Right. So if you can, take your financial advisor or someone who really not what is it? Bob the elevator man. Don't take him with you. Okay. But take someone who deals in finance to sit, you know, because the guy who he went to where we sat down with, he had an attitude. He was like, why you didn't bring your wife? He said, my wife knows what to be done. And she and I both trust this lady. And she hasn't done wrong by me since I've been in this world working. So sometimes you got to step and do the right thing, you know, and an emergency fund is so important. You know, critical. I know you've done it with people like I have, where we've told them save $1 for every week in the year, and at the end of the year you got $1,372. And some people look and go, that's not money, that's not enough. No, but it's better than what you did do. You know, we go into our households and you'll see, I bet every household has it, that water jug with those pennies in it. And some get real extravagant and they get the quarters. But when do you turn it in? And what do you do with it once you turn it in? You know?
Exactly.
And that's what's so important, definitely. So we're going to move to the next one, which is not my most favorite. Oh, we got a question. How can we form group financial education clubs? Oh, in our community. That's a possibility. What's your thought, Selwyn?
Well, we have folks that have access to that How Money Workbook. We have developed a series of classes called Essentials. And we're able to teach people how to basically administer in that class in their communities. You see, I think, and I'm going to go back to that, I want folks to understand that money is just not a subject matter for a semester. It is a subject matter for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. Why? Because what happens when you stop doing things, you lose it. You've got to be conscious all the time. You know, I tell folks, you know, we're just talking about the education piece. We're talking about the emergency fund. I tell folks every single month, you got to have a budget for the month. At the end of the year, listen, every time you hear a company that goes out of business is because there's been mismanagement of money.
It's true.
All of us are Mr. and Mrs. Smith Incorporated. You've got to run your money at the house like a business.
That's true.
And you got to give yourself a grade, either A, B, C, D, or an F. I want this thing so simple that everybody can get it. And I want it exciting. I want folks to get excited about saving, investing, and accumulating wealth in America because they deserve it.
That's powerful. And you know what? It's true. I had my guest on last week, and he is a relationship counselor and love and money. And the thing that he said is he tells his clients that marriage is a business. Marriage is a business. You got to run it like a business. There's going to be someone who's going to be the CEO and the vice president. And sometimes you got to check in with the CEO or the chief financial officer, you know, and you're right. Dealing with money in our households, in our lives is a business. It's, you know, you've got to know, okay, what is it? Matt says, I'd like to set up monthly Zoom workshops. Well, we have those. We're going to start them back again. But I know, and again, you can get in touch with either of us. And James Wilkerson is in Tampa. And due to Zoom, it really doesn't matter where we are.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know, and to learn, yes, we have workshops that we do. And you can get on our mailing list. And if you're missing one, if you put the contact up there for Selwyn, you see. And then there's also one for James and myself. And we do them different times. We purposely don't overlap. So you can tap in. If you are a Monday person, then there's one on Monday we can give you. If it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And then you can catch the same type of information. You have to meet us halfway. We come out with the information. You meet us and we'll be able to assist you. So definitely take down the information and we will definitely let you know our schedules, you know, of when we're doing events, you know, because this is what we have to do in these days. You know, I know we won't get through all of the money milestones, but, you know, it's something that, and we can have a general, because I said I wanted to talk about this, was that there was a rapper, and I, for one reason, refused to remember his name. And he got a weird, let's see, where is it? He got caught a few years ago, I believe, but it's come back up, that he told the story of how to really save money. And it's unfortunate that it takes a rapper, a movie star, an entertainer to get our folks to listen, you know. But his thing was, here it is. He's the name is Waka. Lord knows.
Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka Flame.
Mm.
I'm going to change my name. I'm going to say Yana Jolly. Just I gotta find a way for money, because I gotta say money, but but Waka Flocka Flame. And he almost spilled the beans on private trust and structure. You know, they talk about the letter, which was the Willie Lynch letter, that said that to teach us not to trust. So if we're taught not to trust, we can't get a trust, you know, because we ain't trusting nobody and don't understand the rules, which means that's the most powerful piece out here in the financial service industry, is to have a trust. You know, though I don't want to talk about him, number 45, I ain't going to say his name. He had said it so well when he said that I don't evade taxes. I just use the tax system for my benefit. Correct. You know, the power of how a trust works. And that's part of the legacy. And the reason why I say that is something you said, that we build the legacy, but we also have to be careful, because we leave this money. And I just had a client that almost drove me into an early grave trying to get this money that her husband left her. And she wasn't looking like us. Okay, so they do the same thing we do. And, you know, she wanted this money. And I said, if he had put together a trust, he could have spoken from the grave and said, you can't get this money unless you do X, Y, Z. Or like the Kennedys, their trust is set up that they must do community service or they don't get the money, you know. And I have a client of mine who has a trust. She was so brilliant to listen to me. And she said with her trust, she did not want to leave a dime to her children. She says it's too late for them. They can't, they're not ready. She left the money. She's leaving the money to the grandchildren. But for them to get the money, they must have a certificate of higher learning. So it doesn't have to be a college degree, but they can have a vocational degree. But also they have to sit with a financial advisor.
Good advice. Incredible advice. I think it's not good enough to leave money or wealth to your children. You've got to leave some stipulations. You've got to leave instructions. Because if they're not educated, they're going to mismanage resources that they didn't work hard for. And I think the challenge is when you see folks that are not educated about money and they're just given, they squander it.
That is so true. I have examples after examples. When I first got in the industry, I didn't know a lot about the elements of life insurance because I was studying all the stocks and bonds and things like that. But I wrote a policy for a client. And that's why today I'm not the most happiest person when it comes to accidental death, because he was on the Major Deegan. He got hit. It turned around, and we had $1 million of life insurance, but we also put a double indemnity on it. So through an accident, he would get paid $2 million, only to find out that the insurance company decided that he didn't die from an accident. He died from the heart attack. As the car was coming at him, he had a heart attack, and that's what killed him. And I was like, okay, we know. That was my lesson early, that they not necessarily, that's why they give it away all the time. You see every bank, sign up for accidental death. Well, you got to die from the accident. Well, everybody dies from a heart attack. Your heart stops, you know, but you got to be aware that you might not get that, but you get something else. But in respects to it, why I told this story is his son inherited that $1 million. And for the longest, he thought, because we had it invested, he thought he had to come through me to get it. I went on vacation. He found out that he didn't have to have me to get that money out. And within about 4 years, he went through the whole amount of money.
Wow.
And not only that, but I got about maybe 5 years ago, I met his guardian, which was his aunt. And I was like, wow, whatever happened to him? He's on the cot in her basement. He ain't got nothing for it. So you've got to set up something that will guide these folks, and make them get some financial education. We just had, and I know that's what I was going to have James talk about, but I'm going to have you back on. The Today's Child, Tomorrow's Millionaire, that could have been funded by that money, that child tax credit money.
That's correct.
If they had just used it, do you know what kind of money you would be giving to your children by the time they retire? They,
Wow. It's, sis, I think the challenge is that people believe that in order to accumulate wealth, you've got to have a lot of money. Okay, well, you can have seeds and you're able to plant and it grows into 40, 50, 60 foot oak trees and beyond, or any kind of tree. If folks understand the power in a seed, and when I'm talking about a seed in this conversation, I'm talking about little bits of money that we put away and don't interfere with that over a period of time, especially if it's planted in the right places. Key word, planted in the right places. How it can grow exponentially. Listen, I teach that we operate with 4 mathematical functions. If people don't know why we had math in school, let me tell you right now. We had subtraction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's because taxes are subtracted from your income. We had division because in order to get to multiplication, you got to share. Okay.
Mm.
And then we have multiplication, and then we got addition. Listen, the 2 most powerful mathematical functions is addition and multiplication. But subtraction and division works against you. All you've got to do is look at financial statements, your bank statements, your taxes, and it's operating on those 4 mathematical functions.
You're right.
Growing up in New York, they spoke about it's all about the mathematics. It's all in the math. We're talking about not a word game, but it's a number game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has 40 years, 40 quarters that they need to accomplish, 40 years of your working life. The first 25 years, we call those your learning years. The first 25 years is your learning. The next 40 is your earning.
Mm-hmm.
People have to understand and listen, these golden years can be tarnished years if we don't understand these principles we're talking about.
You're
All
right.
of those things are so vitally important.
I think that's an awesome way, because people don't understand the power of mathematics. And when we say, I think sometimes even when we talk about the rule of 72 and we say, okay, take your interest and divide it into 72 and it'll tell you how frequently your money will double.
Yes.
Smart move. But most people give that deer in the headlight look like, so that's why I go to the law. I say, okay, you got 1%. Okay, now you divide that into 72. You put $1 in. In 72 years, it's going to be 2. Are you happy? No. Okay, so we got to change the interest rate and make it more, But that's one question before we close out. I wanted to say to you, we have a market that is going up, it's doing a dance. Up, down, over, out, up, down. And our people in our community are frightened to get inside the market, even though they don't realize they're already in it in everything they do. So how do we get them to understand that everything that we do has something to do with the market?
Well, I don't know if you can see behind me. That is a chart of the stock market from 1925 to 2015. I keep it there because whether I'm on Zoom or folks are in the office, I let them know that, first of all, the market is the heartbeat of the U.S. and the world economies. Do you want it to flatline for real?
Oh, I love that.
Or do you want it to move up and down? You see, the thing about it is that when folks are looking at the stock market, are they looking at something that is going to, are we looking at time frames of 5, 10, 15, and multiple years beyond that? Because that's what we're talking about. We can't plant it today and harvest it tomorrow. Why are, so the mindset and the emotions that's involved with that folks have today, they've got to be able to understand this is a long-term proposition, 5 years, 10 years, and beyond. And you've got to stay the course. On that board behind me, which represent the stock market from 1925 to 2015, I have all these different dots of everything from World War II, the Korean War, 9/11, Vietnam, on and on. And I can tell you what happened to the stock market when each event or each president was elected. I keep it there, not just for them, but myself, to reinforce what I learned that's in my belly, that I'm telling them, listen, this is how economies behave. We behave the same way as well. We have something, the bad stuff we eat, we get indigestion. We don't drink enough water. We feel dehydrated.
Yes.
It's the same thing happening here. I'm looking at the analysts every day on Bloomberg, and that's wonderful, and all their different reasoning. But listen, one thing that I could tell you, the United States economy and the world economy is based on consumption. And that is not going to stop. Well, gas prices are high. They're still filling up. I went this morning. They're still filling up. They're still filling up.
Sure.
Food are expensive. They're still buying food.
That's right.
Big inflation is 7%. Cut your cable. No way. No way. So listen, I think folks need to understand the education that we are providing is it's not saying stop living. We're saying you can live fruitfully and abundantly if you start practicing certain behaviors and implement certain mechanisms in place, because it makes sense if you're going to run this race correctly. And the last thing that I'm going to say before I give you, folks need to pay attention to what's in their lane. Stop looking to the left and right and what everybody else is doing or driving. Focus on what's in your lane. Where are you going? Where do you need to go?
That is perfect, bro. This is a perfect thing to end on. I do want to say I want to have y'all back because, like you said, what they say, my wingmen hanging with you and sharing. And that's the East Coast, but we travel across to the West Coast too.
Yes,
so we have no boundaries, but we look like you. We sound like you. We are a part of you. And so therefore you need to talk to us. We don't turn down whether you can save $10 a month to 10 million. Talk to us. And get in touch. You saw the links that are there. If you want to hear our programs of the classes we do, just reach out to us, and let's make a difference in our life. Selwyn, I want to thank you so much for being on Access.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, sis.
Yes, and we got a lot to do. I feel it. We're doing it.
We do. We really do. And we understand that because we understand the numbers. Folks need to understand, sit down and have a conversation with us and get the memo.
That's so true. So you have a good night. Thanks again.
All right, sis.
And so to the audience, you're having another evening with your checkup from the neck up with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. And I had my guests, Selwyn Farrell and James Wilkerson on. And we're going to keep on going and keep on making it happen. And you'll just keep joining us for our crusade and share it. Let everyone know what we're doing. And everybody have a good night and be blessed.
Amen. Take care.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is